Exposed, how a hidden love healed a scarred billionaire. After 10 years of pain and isolation, Jackson Harris stood alone in his towering penthouse, the fierce winds of a Chicago winter howling outside. Sunlight barely broke through the dust-laden windows, casting shadows over family photographs that had become nothing more than relics of a bygone era. 10 years had passed since laughter filled these walls, 10 years since the smile of his wife and the joyous giggles of his daughter had brightened every corner of his life. Now, he felt like a ghost, shackled by sorrow, haunted by memories that played on a continuous loop in his mind. Meetings, deals, and luxury couldn't fill the void left by their absence. The silence echoed louder than any boardroom conversation. Lucy Martinez entered the bakery she had poured her heart into, flour dusting her hair and her clothes. With 10-year-old Mia by her side, she faced endless financial struggles but never allowed despair to crush her spirit. Every burnt croissant was a lesson learned, every late night was a promise kept, a reminder that she was building a better tomorrow for her daughter. "Dream big, sweetie," she told Mia, kneeling to tie her shoes with a warmth that radiated hope. "One day, this bakery will thrive." Little did she know, fate had a different plan, one where her determination would clash beautifully with Jackson's isolation. That clash came when Lucy received a fateful call about a struggling community center, a project linked to Jackson. The voice on the other end merely stated that it had fallen into disrepair, a shadow of its former self, and they needed her. But when she saw the center's decrepit facade, she felt a shiver of that billionaire's weighty past, wondering if he was still willing to care. It scared her to think of working with a recluse, but the potential to revive hope within her community ignited a fire deep inside her. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Lucy's persistence rubbed against Jackson's remoteness like an old record scratch. Yet, her passion lit tiny sparks in the dark corners of his heart, and for the first time in years, he felt something hope. The more they collaborated, the more Jackson's memories clashed with his present. Could he really step into the light again? But his family loomed in the background, whispering about money, profit margins, and abandoning the center, as if it were simply a building rather than a beacon of joy. Just when it seemed Jackson could embrace this new beginning, dissonance rose between them. A bitter revelation from Lucy's past unraveled their connection, sowing seeds of doubt. Jackson found himself trapped between familial expectations and the burgeoning feelings he couldn't ignore. Would he fall back into the shadows, eternally held captive by his grief, or could love break through the icy barriers he had built around his heart? As their emotions hung heavy in the air, the stakes couldn't be clearer. Amid clashing ambitions and personal ghosts, could Jackson redefine his legacy before it was too late? Could he fight for the community and perhaps, for love before everything slipped through his fingers again? The crossroads awaited, and the answer would change everything. Jackson paced the dimly lit living room, shadows from the remains of his once vibrant life dancing along the walls. Every step echoed the uncertainty simmering in him. Memories of laughter and warmth contrasted sharply with the chilling emptiness around him. As he stood before the large window, he could see the wind whipping through the city, each gust a reminder of the change he feared. Could he really embrace the flicker of hope Lucy had ignited? She had woven herself into his thoughts, each moment spent planning the community center filling him with a light he hadn't known in years. Yet, doubt gnawed at him. What if he failed her and himself again? Meanwhile, Lucy was closing the bakery for the night, the soft clinking of the glass door comforting in its familiarity. Mia, her small hands busy organizing boxes, looked up with wide eyes. "Mom, why do we have to fix that place? It seems too broken." Lucy knelt beside her daughter, brushing flour off her own clothes. "Sometimes, things need a little love to shine again, like us." The words left her lips before she could think twice. Was she just referring to the community center or to her own life? The next morning, Jackson received a phone call from his mother. Her voice dripped with concern. "Sweetheart, are you sure this is a good idea? Working with that woman, you know how people talk." "Mom, this isn't about what people think. It's about making a difference." His tone sharpened, surprising even himself. But his mother pressed on. "You're forgetting who you are. What will your father think?" The mention of his father sliced through him, reminding him of the expectations that had trapped him for so long. "I have to try, for once, on my own terms." As he hung up, Jackson felt a mix of fear and determination flood through him. Perhaps it was time to claim his own path, even if it was fraught with uncertainty. At the community center, Lucy was cleaning the windows when Jackson arrived. He found her focused, serene, the light filtering through the grime, illuminating her silhouette. For a moment, he stood silently, watching the way her dedication breathed life into the dilapidated building. The realization hit him: these walls could become a sanctuary, a home for all those who had lost hope, just like him. "Hey, Lucy," he called, his voice thick with emotion. She turned, wiping her brow, the faintest hint of a smile breaking through the grime of the day. "Jackson. You came," she said, surprisingly pleased. I wanted to see how I could help," he said, stepping closer. It felt monumental, like he was crossing a threshold he had long avoided. Their eyes locked, a silent wave of understanding passing between them. "You're not just a financial resource, you know. This isn't a project, it's something more," she replied, her voice soft but firm. Jackson nodded, feeling the weight of her words settle deep within him. "I'm ready to make it something more," he said, the tremor in his voice betraying his fear. But just as a tentative hope started to blossom, a figure stepped into the doorway, a flash of familiarity that sent a chill down his spine. It was Mia's father, the past crashing into the present. Desire and fear warred within Jackson, and Lucy's face fell, confusion clouding her eyes. "Lucy, we need to talk," he said, his voice cold and demanding. Jackson felt the air shift. Everything was about to change. Would it be for better or worse? A sense of panic surged through him. How much longer could he suppress the truth? The answers they needed were slipping through their fingers, and time was running out. The tension thickened in the room as Mia's father stepped forward. His presence loomed large, a silent force that threatened to unravel the fragile bond Jackson and Lucy had just begun to forge. Jackson's heart raced. He took a small step towards Lucy, instinctively placing himself between her and the man in the doorway. "Maybe you should leave," he said, trying to keep his voice steady, each word tinged with hesitation. Mia's father, Adam, smirked, clearly unimpressed. "It's not your place to tell me what to do, Jackson." The name hung in the air, sharp and biting. Jackson hated the way it felt, as if all the past mistakes had returned to taunt him. "Lucy, can we talk?" Adam continued, ignoring Jackson. His tone was smooth, but there was a hardness beneath it, a veiled threat that made Jackson's skin crawl. Lucy hesitated, glancing between Jackson and Adam. "What do you want, Adam?" "I want to see my daughter." "She needs her father," he said, his eyes narrowing. "And don't think for a second that I'm going to let you two turn this place into some whimsical dreamland without my permission." Jackson clenched his fists, every muscle in his body ready to confront the man standing before them. "This place might actually help people, Adam. A place for the community to heal something you wouldn't understand." Adam scoffed. "You think you're the hero here? You're a washed-up banker who has buried himself in self-pity. Don't play savior now." Lucy looked shattered, torn by the confrontation. "This isn't about you two, I'm trying to do something good here." Her voice was rising, a mix of anger and desperation that pierced through the tension. Adam shifted his focus, fixing Lucy with a penetrating stare. "You think you can just erase the past? Build a new life without facing it? Mia needs stability, not your fantasies." The truth stung. But Lucy wasn't backing down. "You haven't been stable for years, Adam. It's time for you to face what you've done. Her words struck a chord. Jackson felt a flicker of hope rise again. It was in her fire, her strength. If she could confront her past, perhaps he could too. Lucy's right, he interjected, his voice more firm now. You can't dictate what happens here anymore. The relief crashing over him as he said those words filled him with unexpected courage. Adam's expression shifted. The smirk faded, replaced with a hint of anger mixed with something resembling bewilderment. You're brave, Jackson. But foolish. You'll regret crossing me. As Adam moved to leave, Jackson felt the ground beneath him shift. Lucy stood beside him, her shoulder brushing against his. In that moment, he knew they were united. But the reality of what they faced loomed like a dark cloud overhead. Do you really think you're going to push me out? Adam shot back, lingering in the doorway. You don't know who you're messing with. With that final threat, he stepped out, leaving an echo of uncertainty hanging in the air. Jackson took a deep breath, his heart racing. What just happened? He asked, looking at Lucy wide-eyed. She shook her head, tears glistening in her eyes. I thought I was done with him. I thought no, Jackson interrupted, stepping closer. You're not alone in this. Not anymore. But as Lucy wiped her eyes, Jackson felt a knot tighten in his gut. Would the past let them go that easily? Was their newfound hope strong enough to withstand the chaos? Just then, Mia rushed in, concern painted on her small face. Mom. What is going on? Jackson looked from Lucy to Mia, knowing that their world was about to get more complicated. Would they fight for their future, or would the shadows of the past crush them? The answer seemed just out of reach, but they had to find it fast. Mia's eyes darted between her mother and Jackson. A silence fell, heavy with unspoken worries. Mom. She pressed, her voice trembling. Is everything okay? Lucy knelt to Mia's level, her hands gently grasping Mia's shoulders. Honey, it's just. It's a bit complicated right now, she said, trying to sound calm, but Jackson could see the strain in her eyes. But we're going to be all right. Jackson felt the tension in the room multiply as he watched Lucy. He wanted to reach out to her, to reassure them both. Instead, he stood frozen, weighed down by the unrelenting presence of Adam's threat lingering like a dark fog. Mia's innocent gaze held a mixture of fear and confusion, pulling Jackson from his reverie. What did he say? Was it about me? No, sweetheart, Lucy replied quickly. It's about grown-up stuff. You don't need to worry. But worry seeped into the creases of Mia's forehead. Why was he so mean? That question cut deep. Jackson felt the weight of the response hang in the air. Some people don't know how to love, he said slowly, as if speaking to an audience beyond her years. And they hurt those they're supposed to care for. Lucy's eyes met his for a fleeting moment, a mix of gratitude and sadness shared between them. She looked back at Mia, forcing a smile. Let us get you ready for bed. Tomorrow's a new day, and we can do some fun things. Mia nodded hesitantly, but Jackson could tell she wasn't convinced. She tugged at her mother's sleeve as they moved toward the bedroom, leaving Jackson standing alone in the tension-ridden living room. Emotions swirled inside him, throwing him back to the choices he had made in his own life. Helping Lucy and Mia meant taking a risk, a leap into the unknown. But the idea of backing down wasn't an option. He marched towards the door, ready to bolster their defenses. Before he reached the threshold, Jackson paused. Through the window, he caught sight of Adam's shadow lingering in the driveway. Was he planning something? Or just trying to intimidate them from a distance? Hoping to put his worries aside, Jackson made his way to the kitchen. He rinsed a cup in the sink, his thoughts racing while he tried to shake off the unease. The community center, once a beacon of hope, felt heavy with the burdens of the past. They couldn't let Adam's darkness extinguish their light. A sudden realization jolted him. Lucy. He called out, his voice echoing down the hallway as he turned back to the living area. We need to strengthen our plan. If Adam thinks he can walk back into our lives, he's got another thing coming. Lucy emerged from the hallway, wiping tears from her eyes, determination igniting in her expression. What do you mean? We should hold a meeting. Bring the community together to stand against him. We can't let him shatter what we're building here. Lucy's eyes sparkled with cautious hope. You really think they'll come? That they'll stand with us? I know it. This place means something to them, just like it does to us. We'll fight together, and we'll show Adam there is power in unity. Mia appeared beside her mother, her interest piqued. Are we going to have a team? Like superheroes? Yes, Jackson laughed softly, finding comfort in her innocence. We'll be the heroes of the center. Lucy and Mia smiled, a fragile but shared warmth sparking in the room. They were taking back control. But as they nodded in agreement, Jackson couldn't ignore the pit in his stomach. Would they be ready for the battle ahead? Or was Adam just waiting for the perfect moment to strike, poised to throw everything into turmoil? The air grew thick with uncertainty, yet he felt a flicker of hope in their unity. It was time to act. Tomorrow, we'll start working on a plan, he declared, clearly envisioning the strategy, the strength they'd gather. Moments later, a loud knock pierced the night, making all three freeze. Jackson's heart raced again as he glanced toward the door. Who's that? Mia clutched her mother's arm, eyes wide with a mix of excitement and fear. One look at Lucy told him she felt it too. The challenges were far from over. And before they even had the chance to breathe easy, the night was about to unfold into something unexpected. Jackson's heart raced as the knock echoed through the room, a jolt of adrenaline shooting through him. He felt the eyes of Lucy and Mia on him, and, without thinking, he took a step forward. In moments like these, the urge to protect surged through him, instinctual and immediate. Stay back, he whispered, his voice low but firm. He approached the door cautiously, every nerve in his body alert. The shadows outside the window danced unsettlingly, and he strained his ears, trying to make out any sounds. Who is it? He called out, gripping the doorknob tightly. Silence stretched out, thick like a wall. Then, a voice he recognized pierced the stillness. Jackson, it's me. Emily. His heart sank. He hadn't heard from her in months. Emily had been a close friend, a fellow advocate at the community center, but their paths had diverged when she moved away. He had thought she wouldn't come back, especially with everything happening with Adam. Reluctantly, Jackson opened the door. The dim light from the porch fell on her face, revealing worn lines that spoke of hardships endured. Emily's eyes widened slightly as she took him in, surprised but relieved. I heard you're back. I had to see you. Jackson stepped aside, allowing her in. What is going on? Is everything okay? She shook her head, emotion flickering across her features. Not since I left. I came back because rumors started swirling about Adam. I'm scared for you, for Lucy and Mia. At the mention of Lucy and Mia, Jackson felt fresh determination swell within him. He gestured Emily toward the living room, where Lucy and Mia had moved them into the glow of a lamp, eager faces turning toward the newcomer. Mama, who is that? Mia asked, a tinge of curiosity lighting her eyes. This is Emily, a friend who has come to help us, Jackson explained, noticing the uncharacteristic weight in Emily's posture. He didn't want to dwell on it but felt compelled to ask more. How do you know about Adam? Emily crossed her arms, her demeanor firming up. I've been in touch with some folks in the area about community events and when your center opened back up. There's been talk about Adam making threats. It's worse than we thought. He's planning something violent. The air crackled with tension, the implications of her words settling over them. Lucy's hand tightened around Mia's, her eyes widening as she took in the news. Jackson felt a surge of responsibility settle upon him like a heavy mantle. We're going to confront him, he stated, voice resolute. I want to help, Emily said urgently. But we need a solid plan. If he's coming for the center, we have to be ready. What do we do? Mia asked, her small voice finding strength among the adults. It starts with gathering the community, showing them that we won. Back down, Jackson replied, feeling the electric anticipation building amongst them. If we stand strong together, Adam won. Know what hit him. Determined, Lucy nodded. I'll call the others. We have to act fast. Jackson felt a warmth spread through him, a sense of hope growing against the encroaching dread. They were no longer individuals caught in a storm, they were beginning to forge a collective strength. But outside, the shadows multiplied. There was still uncertainty about Adam's next move. As Jackson caught Emily's gaze, a thought flickered through his mind: could there be more to their history than just friendship? Just then, another knock interrupted his contemplation. The banging sounded frantic, urgent. With a hesitating glance between Lucy, Mia, and Emily, Jackson approached the door once again, his heart racing more fiercely than before. Who else could it be? There was no telling how deep this web of conflict reached. What awaited him on the other side of the threshold? With a deep breath, Jackson opened the door, the weight of everything pressing down on him. Would they be ready for whatever came next? The door creaked open, and Jackson braced himself, heart pounding like a drum. He caught sight of a tall figure, shadowed against the dim light of the entrance. It was Derek, someone from the community center board, his face pale and drawn. Jackson's heartbeat quickened. Derek? What's wrong? Jackson asked, stepping aside to let him in. Derek stumbled through the threshold, chest heaving as if he had sprinted miles. I heard Adam's been seen around here, he gasped. He's trying to rally people against us. He's escalating things faster than we thought. Lucy and Mia's faces fell, the worry tightening their expressions. Emily exchanged glances with Jackson, concern etched deep on her face. How do you know this? She pressed. I was at the diner downtown, Derek explained, his eyes darting around, nervous. I overheard a group talking about trying to scare everyone away from coming to the center. Adam's convinced he has the upper hand. Jackson's stomach churned with worry. What if he tries to hurt someone? We need to act now. Yes, we do, Derek agreed, a hint of urgency in his voice. We have to organize. Gather everyone we can trust. Show Adam there are more of us than him. What do we tell the others? Lucy asked, her voice trembling slightly. How do we prepare them for something like this? Truth, Jackson said, the determination flooding his voice. We can't sugarcoat it. They need to know exactly what he's capable of. Fear can be a great motivator, but so can hope. If we prepare them, we'll stand a better chance. Mia looked around, her small frame seeming fragile but strong beneath the surface. But what if they're scared? What if they don't want to help? Jackson knelt to her level, his heart aching with the weight of her vulnerability. We have to show them that standing together is our greatest strength. If we unite, Adam won't stand a chance against us. With the tension in the room climbing higher, Lucy reached for her phone, determined to connect with the community members. I'll call the others, she said firmly. But we have to move fast. As she began dialing numbers, Jackson turned to Emily and Derek. Let's make a plan. We need to figure out where Adam is getting his support from. If we can cut off his allies, we may weaken him. Emily nodded. I have some contacts that can help. We can gather information quickly. Derek straightened up, the fear still visible in his eyes but now mixed with resolve. Let us meet at the center tomorrow. We can use the space to strategize in safety. With everyone there, we can empower each other. Mia's hand squeezed Jackson's, her tiny fingers gripping tightly. He looked down at her and smiled, a flicker of reassurance lighting his heart. We've got this, he whispered. We're a family, and families protect each other. But just as hope began to blossom against the dread, another knock echoed through the house, louder this time like a warning bell ringing out in the night. Jackson shot a look around the room. What now? The question hung heavy in the air, filled with anxiety and uncertainty. With a shared glance of confusion and fear, they all hesitated. This wasn't just any knock, it felt different. Derek's expression mirrored Jackson's thoughts as he mouthed, "Do we answer it?" A moment stretched into an eternity, and Jackson's breath hitched in his throat. Who could possibly be at the door now? Would it be a friend, a foe, or something far worse? With each passing heartbeat, Jackson felt a growing sense of urgency. They weren't just up against Adam anymore. There was something more lurking in the shadows, waiting to pounce. Taking a deep breath, he squared his shoulders and moved toward the door again. What awaited him beyond that threshold? Jackson's hand trembled as he reached for the doorknob. What lay behind that door felt potent, electric, like the storm brewing just beyond the horizon. Heart thudding, he glanced back at the others, each face mirroring the same combination of fear and determination. "Just, be ready," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. With a firm twist of the knob, he opened the door. The crisp night air rushed in, a chill that sent a shiver down his spine. Standing on the porch was none other than Adam, the very man they had been discussing, with a smirk carved on his lips. His presence was like a dark cloud, hovering, threatening anything within reach. "Jackson!" Adam called out, his voice dripping with false cheer. "I was hoping I'd find you here. What do you want?" Jackson shot back, annoyance mixing with the dread crawling up his spine. "You don't belong here." Adam stepped forward, hands raised in mock surrender. "Oh, come now. I'm just trying to have a friendly chat. I hear some interesting things about you and the center. I figured we could clear the air like old friends." "Yeah right," Derek muttered, stepping up beside Jackson. "You're not welcome. Just leave." Adam's eyes narrowed as he surveyed the group behind Jackson. Lucy, Emily, Mia. Each person he saw was a thread in the web of community they were trying to weave together. "You think they'll stand by you? That they're going to risk their necks for a sinking ship?" He laughed, a cold, hollow sound. Jackson clenched his fists. "We're not afraid of you." "Oh, but you should be," Adam replied, his smile shifting into something more menacing. "I heard stories that can keep anyone up at night. You have no idea how deep I can reach to shake the very foundation of your little utopia." Before Jackson could respond, Mia stepped around him, her small stature framed by the shadows. "You're wrong," she yelled, surprising everyone with her courage. "We stand together. You can't scare us away." Adam blinked, clearly taken aback by her boldness. "And what about you, little girl? What do you think you're fighting for? Pity? Hope? Those things don't last long in a real fight." Jackson knelt beside Mia, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You may think you can intimidate us, but you don't know how strong we are when we stand together," he said, raising his voice to match the confidence he felt swelling in his chest. Adam's bravado faltered for a split moment, and Jackson seized the opportunity. "We're more than just friends, we're family. You can't tear us apart, no matter how hard you try." The tension crackled in the air as Adam studied them, calculating. Eventually, he stepped back, hands up in a gesture of mock peace. "Fine. You believe whatever you want. For now. Just know this isn't over." He turned, slipping into the darkness. His laughter echoed behind him, an ominous reminder of the threat still looming. As the door clicked shut, Jackson felt the weight of their small victory. Though it felt fragile, it was a start. They had stood up to Adam, and it had felt good. "Do you think he'll come back?" Lucy asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Jackson looked at each of them, the fear mingling with hope in their eyes. "If he does, we'll be ready. We have to show our strength. We're in this together." But just as a small wave of courage began to fill the room, Derek received a notification on his phone, his face going pale once more. It's not just Adam. There's something else. Something big. The room fell silent, each breath suspended in anticipation. What do you mean? Emily asked, curiosity blending with dread. Derek swallowed hard, eyes darting around as if searching for answers. People are starting to rally against us. It's not just Adam anymore. We need to prepare for a real fight. The gravity of Derek's words hung in the air like a dark cloud. Jackson felt a chill run down his spine. The camaraderie they had just forged was overshadowed by the threat looming outside their safe space. What do you mean people are rallying against us? Lucy's voice trembled, betraying the confidence she had shown minutes earlier. Her hands gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white, Derek's brows furrowed. I don't know the details, but it looks like Adam's not alone anymore. He's gathering supporters. Folks who think the center's ideas of community and support are just a bad joke. Why would anyone care what Adam thinks? Emily blurted, confusion and anger mixing in her expression. Because he's charismatic. People follow power, and fear, Derek replied, his voice heavy with concern. There are whispers, rumors turning into shouts. This isn't just back and forth anymore. It could get ugly. Mia piped up, her voice steady despite the turmoil. We can't let that happen. We've worked too hard to build something good. Jackson nodded, feeling a surge of determination. We can't back down, he said firm. We need to reach out to the community. Show them what we stand for, what we can achieve together. But how do we do that? Lucy questioned, doubt creeping back into her voice. If they're already deciding to turn against us. Jackson's mind whirred. They needed a way to counteract whatever narrative Adam was spinning. Let us organize a community meeting. Invite everyone. Show them we're not afraid to face this head-on. Share our stories. Our struggles. The group exchanged glances, fear mixing with hope. Yeah, I like that, Derek said, picking up on Jackson's momentum. We could set up a panel to discuss our mission, what we've accomplished. Emily chimed in, and we can include personal stories. Show them how the center has changed our lives, how it's made us stronger. Mia added, we need to show that unity is power. Fire lit in her eyes, something that ignited the others. The fear was still there, but it was battered by a growing resolve. All right then, Jackson said, his heart thudding loudly in his chest. We do this. We prepare. We gather our stories and let people see who we truly are. This is not just a battle against Adam, it's a battle for our lives, our futures. As the group rallied around the idea, a sense of urgency filled the room. Stronger than their individual fears was the collective energy swelling between them. They began to sketch plans, ideas flying back and forth, energized by each other's determination. Then, just as the laughter of shared hope started to emerge from the tension, Derek's phone buzzed again. His face fell, quickly revealing that this message brought more than just news. Guys, it's a text from a friend. They're saying their SA protest planned tomorrow evening. In front of the center. Silence crashed down again, heavier than bricks. A protest? Jackson gasped, feeling his stomach drop. Yeah. People against us, Derek clarified, his voice barely above a whisper. We need to act. Fast. Jackson's mind raced. So we have less than 24 hours to prepare. Yeah, Derek confirmed, his gaze locked on Jackson with unspoken urgency. Thunder rumbled in the distance, mirroring the tension in the air. They had ignited a fire, but time was running short. Jackson felt the gravity of the moment settle on his shoulders, knowing that everything depended on how they responded. Then let us channel that fear into strength, he said, determination solidifying in his words. We'll show them who we are. We'll find a way to turn this around, but in the back of his mind, doubt crept in like shadows. Could they really rise to the challenge? As they gathered in a huddle, a flicker of uncertainty hung in the air, waiting to become something more. As they started planning, a sense of urgency and anxiety filled the room. Would this be their moment of truth, or would Adam's shadows snuff out the light they fought so hard to illuminate? The next day arrived too quickly. Jackson barely slept, tossing and turning as the weight of the impending protest pressed down on him. The sun was barely peeking through the blinds when his alarm blared, shattering the silence of his anxious thoughts. He pulled himself out of bed, his heart racing. Today was the day. The day they would face all that fear, all that uncertainty. He glanced at his reflection in the mirror, searching for that spark of confidence, but doubt lingered in his eyes. Mia had already gathered everyone at the community center by the time he arrived. The energy inside was a chaotic blend of excitement and dread. The room buzzed with voices, each one debating ideas, sharing stories of why this fight mattered. Jackson felt his pulse quicken, a mixture of adrenaline and trepidation surging through him. "Okay, remember what we talked about," he said, trying to keep the anxiety at bay. "We need to be united. This isn't just about us, it's about our community, our values. We're going to show them what we stand for." Lucy took a deep breath, attempting to rouse the group's spirits. "They may come with their anger and shouts, but we have something real, something that can't be taken away." The group nodded, but Jackson could see the worry etched on their faces. They had worked tirelessly to build what they had, and now they were scared of losing it all. As the time ticked down, they organized their thoughts. Emily held up a notepad, filled with bullet points, personal stories, community impact, a call to come together. They were preparing to strip away the hostility Adam's supporters might bring. "Let us remember to speak from the heart," Jackson urged. "If we show them our truth, they might just listen." The phone buzzed again, a reminder that the protest would start in less than an hour. Jackson's stomach twisted. Mia reached for his hand, squeezing it. Her eyes were fierce, a mirror of the fire he hoped to ignite within the crowd. "We can do this," she whispered. As they stepped outside to face the reality of their world, the atmosphere thickened. They saw the crowd gathering outside the center. Some faces showed hostility, others just curiosity. It was a sea of uncertainty, anger, and, surprisingly, a little hope. Jackson's heart thudded in his chest, a drumbeat of fear and determination. He turned to his group. "This is it. We're all in this together, remember that." The crowd erupted into chants, each voice rising higher, the shouts echoing through the air like thunder. A chill ran down Jackson's spine. He could feel the tension suffocating him, yet it was like a match striking fire. "Hey!" he yelled, stepping forward, forcing himself to meet the gaze of a few individuals who glared back with skepticism. "I know there's a lot of anger right now. But we want to hear you. We're not just a center, we're your neighbors, your friends. Let us talk." The shouting shifted, some people looked taken aback, moments of confusion flitting across their faces. "Let us show them we're not here to fight," Derek said, joining him on the steps. "Instead of divisiveness, let us share what our center has meant to us." As they stood united on the steps, Jackson felt the electricity in the air change. The protesters hesitated, curiosity breaking through their initial hostility. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of someone approaching. Someone familiar with a fierce expression, pushing through the crowd. It was Adam, the energy shifting, tension rising like a living thing. "You think you can just charm your way through this, Jackson?" Adam's voice cut through the air, fueled by confidence and rage. Jackson's heart raced. The moment of truth was upon them. Would their efforts hold? Would they be torn apart? "Let us see how they respond," he muttered under his breath, knowing the battle wasn't just outside, but deep within himself. The atmosphere crackled with tension as the crowd shifted and whispered among themselves. Adam's presence was like a dark cloud hanging over them, a reminder of the fear they were trying to overcome. Jackson felt a surge of determination. He stepped forward, allowing his voice to rise above the din. Everyone. We're not here to create division. We're here to share ideas and build something better. His words rang out, echoing off the walls of the center, and for a moment, silence surrounded him. Why should we trust you? A voice shouted back from the crowd. Jackson's heart pounded as he recognized the challenging tone. We've had our share of hardships. Jackson exclaimed, gesturing toward his friends. But we also have each other. This community isn't just a building, it's the people who care, who struggle, and who rise together. As he spoke, Lucy stepped up beside him, her strength cutting through the fear. This isn't just about us defending this center, it's about defending our right to come together, to support one another. Her voice rang with passion. Mia stood boldly at the steps, eyes fierce, and shouted, "We're a family. And families fight for one another." The crowd shifted again, some faces softening, while others remained skeptical. But within that sea of people, a murmur of agreement rippled forward. Jackson could feel the wall of tension begin to fracture, just a little. "Listen," Emily said, stepping forward with her own conviction. "This place has brought light where there was darkness. We've seen lives change, hope restored. Every single one of us has a story worth sharing." Just then, Derek amplified the mood by starting to recount his journey. "I came here lost, unsure of where I belonged. But I found connection, support, and friends right here. We can all share our truths." He glanced over at Jackson, a shared understanding passing between them. As one person began to speak up about what the center meant to them, another followed until stories flowed freely like a river, real, raw, and healing. Each voice stirred something in the crowd. Jackson watched as Adam's smug expression faltered. "Enough of this." Adam yelled suddenly, cutting through the heartfelt confessions. "This place is a joke. It's a cover-up for your failures." Jackson felt a collective tension in the crowd as they shifted uneasily. They had fought through their fears, and now they were being challenged again. The tension thickened, but Jackson stood firm, his heart pounding. "We're not perfect," he shot back, a tremor of anger in his voice. "But we're committed to growing. Isn't that worth more than empty accusations? We choose love instead of hate, connection instead of silence. Who are you to declare what we can or cannot be?" With each word, Jackson felt the power of the crowd swelling behind him. They began to chant words of unity, connected dreams blending into one realization: this was their moment to rise together. Adam's bravado cracked. He surveyed the sea of faces, ordinary, hopeful people standing strong against the darkness he wielded like a weapon. "You think this will last?" he shouted, but anxiety edged into his tone. "You're living in a fantasy." Jackson stepped down from the steps, arms open wide. "No, Adam. We're living in reality. We're real people who face real struggles together. It's messy, it's hard, but we're fully alive." Then, out of the blue, a voice rang from the crowd. A mother, who had once lost hope, spoke up. "My son found friends here. My family found laughter here. You may think you can tear that down, but you underestimate the power of community." Jackson watched the crowd respond, people nodding, voices rising again, filling the air with vibrancy and hope. With every story shared, with every heart spoken, the towering threat of Adam began to fade, replaced by an undeniable momentum towards community, love, and support. By the end of the heated gathering, Jackson felt something change deep within him too. They had transformed fear into love, anger into strength. And when the final chants of togetherness echoed into the twilight, he turned to see Lucy's radiant smile and Mia's spark of pride that lit up her innocent eyes. As the crowd dispersed, he ran a hand through his hair, exhilarated but exhausted. Lucy stepped to him, her expression soft yet fierce. "We did it," she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes. "Yeah, we did," he replied, feeling lighter than he had in years. But just as he felt a weight lift off his shoulders, Derek tapped him on the shoulder urgently. "Jackson. Adam's not done yet. This was just the beginning. He'll come back." They all held their breath, caught between a fleeting victory and the awareness of what lay ahead, but Jackson knew that fear and uncertainty could not extinguish the fire they had ignited together. "No matter what happens, we'll be ready," he said, rallying his friends around him once more, the knowledge that they were together bolstering their resolve. "As long as we stand united, we can face anything." And with that truth, they walked back into the glow of the center, settled in the shared warmth and purpose, their hearts intertwined with the promise of a future bright with hope. As the night fell, they understood, the path would be difficult, but they were not just fighting against shadows. They were building a home, a beacon of hope for everyone who sought to heal. And that commitment was their greatest power now. This is the moment for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories about hope and transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this amazing journey. Comment below your thoughts and feelings about this incredible ending. And most importantly, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful transformation in action. You need to subscribe now, and don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting this community through these actions.